What's up, guys? Justin McDangles here, back with another franchise video, guys. This is the franchise episode number 2 with the San Jose Sharks. And if you missed the last episode, be sure to check it out. I'll leave a card in the top right hand corner right now for you guys to go check that out and see what we did to the team. And based off of the comments in the last episode, guys, you did sort of tell me that you sort of want to have Hurdle and LeBanc up in the lineup, so we're actually going to go ahead and try and figure that out right now to make it sort of work here with the overall. So I'll be right back with the updated lineup. So here is the sort of updated lineup. We've actually had to leave LeBanc back on the third line, but moved Hurdle up to the first line for that +1 still. And even though we bumped Couture down to the second line, he actually gives the +3 with Connolly and Sorensen, so we'll see how that goes with them. And then if you guys do eventually just want me to move up LeBanc to the second line, he does get the +1, but I would rather have that +3 to start off the season right. As we get into the simulations here, we will go ahead and simulate here up through this first month of the season. Hopefully no injuries will occur, but we'll go ahead and sim through half the month, see what happens, and go from there. So half the month of October gone, and it looks like we are 5-2, and the boys are doing pretty well. So we will go ahead and simulate through the rest of this month, and I'll catch you guys there. So rounding out the month of October, things went pretty well for the boys as we ended up 8-4-1. Not terribly awful for a team that wasn't doing so hot in real life, guys, as we are actually atop the Pacific standings by a couple of points there, above the Coyotes and Golden Knights, tied there for second. Erik Karlsson leads the way with points after the month of October, which is honestly not surprising to see with his defensive output. Couture on the second line actually thriving with that +3, as he's got 14 points, and then we go Meyer. Sorensen, who's performing well over what he is actually worth, is doing pretty great, as it actually looks like Burns and Vlasic aren't doing the best. Burns actually a -6. Which kind of sucks to see, but we can actually go ahead and look at a trade. I was looking at trading Vlasic earlier in the season, just because he's got that huge contract and would like to sort of move that. So I actually have sort of a trade in mind, and we can see if we can get it to work here. We've got to be sure to get Vlasic on there, and we'll go down to the Carolina Hurricanes, down on their end, and we will actually go ahead and try to pick up Dougie Hamilton, as it looks like this 1-for-1 swap here might it looks a little off in favor of them. The only difference with this is Vlasic does have that 7 years on him, but Dougie Hamilton is a great player. He is -2, 2-5, which isn't awesome. 1-4, 8-8. Honestly, I don't know. We might wait for the next episode to make that move, but that is definitely a move we might want to be taking here, depending on how those players are producing. I don't know if the pluses and minuses sort of go up and down as the season progresses here, as it doesn't look like they are. Let's see, Marlowe isn't doing so great. Can we bump him? No, we cannot. LeBanc, he's got to stay on that third line. Unfortunately, he's just not doing too bad. 3-2. Jumbo Joe, 1-7, so not too bad there. 1-3 for Patrick Marlowe. How's our fourth line actually doing? 4 points, 4 points, and 2 points. So not terribly bad. Timo Meyer honestly killing it on the front end for us. He's got 13 points in 13 games. Hurdle not doing too bad. Honestly, our first line's playing pretty well, I think. So we will actually go ahead and simulate through this next month here, if I can just find it. And actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the draft class here, as I'm pretty sure we had scouts out taking a look at potential players. But as of now, it actually looks like we won't be sort of drafting this high. So we might want to honestly be looking lower in the draft. And honestly, players that we need to sort of be looking for are right wingers and left wingers. So sort of looking here, we could take a look at Josh Williams, try and see if we can find a way to scout these players. We'll go ahead and scout Mercier here. We'll just go potential in comparison to start, as he sort of looks like he might be in a potential range for one of our draft picks here. At left wing, we can actually go ahead and look down the lineup here. Justin Schroef, or however you pronounce that name, is looking pretty good for sort of that area. Connor McClellan could be a potential here. We can't scout him. We'll have to try and see if we can get some more scouts, as it does look like they're currently being scouted, some of these players. So we'll have to wait a little bit to see how things will turn out looking for the draft. But without further ado, let's get into this simulation of this next month, which is the month of November, guys. So let's go ahead and simulate up to the 15th and see how the boys are doing. Oh no, guys, Erik Karlsson has actually been injured. We're gonna have to edit those lines manually. That is kind of a dagger there for the team, as we can't even see what his problem is. So we got to substitute this two-way defenseman in the lineup. Gonna have to shake things up, see if we can get a +1 at least here on one of the lines. As man, this is a big decision. I kind of want to. I would rather get Vlasic sort of that +1 there, and sort of just roll with that line. Ah, dang it. Back to edit lines. We're going to have to sort of fix some of these things here as we extra attacker. Interesting here. As we'll go with Evander Kane. Why not? And then we still need some extra shootout. Interesting. So we will go with, who isn't in the shootout? Let's get Jumbo Joe in there for the shootout. Why not? Get him as our... let's go with our 4th shooter. We'll go with that. See how things roll going forward with Karlsson out of the lineup. Hopefully he's back into the lineup here shortly, as the boys are doing well even without him in the lineup, as Dion Phaneuf has now been injured. That is worrisome there, as we might have to call somebody up here, as man, that is a heartbreaker there. Yeah, we're gonna have to make some roster moves here. Go to roster moves. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring up a defenseman. Oh, we're not gonna be able to. Wait a minute. Let's just throw in a scratch player for now, and then get him in there, and then let's actually just go to stop the simulation right before that game, as they want a player. Okay, perfect. A game wasn't played, so we actually have to go to the roster moves, send down one of our players that isn't really playing much, and try and bring up a defenseman here. Roster moves. Quite interesting to see how long. Can we see how long he's out for? Interesting. We'll have to find a way to see how long he's going to be out for, along with Dion Phaneuf, as we will send down Blitchfield here. Send him down to the minors, and then in the minors, let's bring up, let's see here, Prout is 29. Let's look at Carrick. He's 25. He's not terrible. We'll go ahead and give Prout the option to, actually, he's one way. Two-way, Carrick, we'll have to bring him up since he is a two-way player. Don't want to lose him to anything seriously, as let's go ahead and look at the lineup here, as we'll go ahead and substitute Gramble out there for Carrick. If we can do it here, we're able to get him into the lineup. He is that +1. Yeah, we're gonna have to leave him. We're gonna have to bump him down actually to the 3rd line. It's only better safe than sorry. Two-way offensive. Let's see what happens if we bring Heat up. Nothing really happens there, but let's get Heat up there on that. Oh, back to edit lines. I forgot. I have to deal with the AHL squad here, as we got to sort of promote somebody here from. Let's go with a two-way defenseman. See what he is up to. Oh man, that really screws up the lineup if we sort of move him around, but we will go with that for the AHL. Not too worried about the AHL, actually. Let's go ahead and see how they are doing. 5-5, not terrible, but not great, as we're more concerned with the San Jose Sharks. Actually, let's go ahead and look and see if we can find a way to check out the injuries. Not too familiar with sort of looking at injuries here. Let's go to the, oh, there it is, injury report, perfect. Let's take a look. January for Erik Karlsson, elbow surgery. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, that's a bummer. We lose him. We won't get him back until the next episode. And then Dan Phaneuf will be able to return in November, but that's a tough break, losing basically our best player to injury, which is, man, that's such a bummer, as things were looking pretty good for the boys. So we'll go ahead and simulate up to the 22nd. We still are playing pretty well. Like to review the draft class. Okay. Roster management. And it looks like Dion Phaneuf will be back in the lineup, so we will go ahead and put him back into the lineup right now. And so far, things are looking pretty good for this month. Just a couple injuries here to fix here and there, but we will go ahead and simulate to December 1st and see what happens here with this simulation. So looking at the month of November, things were pretty good other than the loss of Erik Karlsson until January after needing elbow surgery. But other than that, guys, the team has been playing extremely well, even with the changes in the lineup. As we get into our last month here of today's episode, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings and sort of the team stats here. As the Sharks, we are still in first in the Pacific Division. 19 wins, 8 losses, and 1 overtime loss. Couple point lead over the Coyotes and Flames, so things are looking good there. And Timo Meier absolutely killing it here with 29 points on the season. Not too bad for an 85 overall player. As Evander Kane, it's completely, that first line is really carrying the team with points 25, 26, and 29. All playing pretty well, along with Logan Couture, Jumbo, Joe Thornton, and Sorensen's were rounding out that. As Karlsson actually doing pretty well. Brett Burns hasn't been playing well as of late, even on that first line. He has been able to sort of get his plus-minus back down a little bit. And LeBanc not sort of performing up to snuff here. I don't want to mess with the lineups until the next episode, really. Also regarding any trades or anything of that nature, because we could end up finding a trade for either LeBanc or maybe even Patrick Marleau. Somehow we might need to give up draft picks or potential sort of future players that we have in our system, because I don't want to mess that 83 or 3+3 for the second line, getting Couture up to an 89 overall, Connolly to an 83, and then 82 for Sorensen. So I want to leave it as is until the next episode, and sort of you guys can let me know what you want to do, if you want to tweak with that or not. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and start the simulation of the month of December, and I will catch you guys right here after this Arizona Coyotes game. So the month really isn't going so hot, guys. We started off with a couple losses against Washington and Carolina. We were able to sort of pull it together and win the next 4 games, but then we are back on a 2-game losing streak as we go ahead and try and round out the rest of this month. So we will go ahead and simulate it up to January 1st and see how the team is performing here at the midway point of the season. So things sort of took a dip in that month, guys, as you were seeing there in the simulation. We are now down to second place in the Pacific Division, tied on wins with the Coyotes, but they have just 2 more points than us. Kind of sketchy to see. Started off hot, and just as of late, the team isn't performing. So maybe in the next episode, we might need to make a couple of trades here. Maybe if we want to move some of the older guys out, some of the old guards, with Jumbo Joe or Patrick Marleau, as Joe Thornton has actually been putting up points, but Patrick Marleau really hasn't been. So maybe we find a trade for Patrick Marleau to maybe get a better third-line player to sort of get a boost on that line, as LeBanc isn't sort of performing well either. But it's up to you guys if you want to sort of move him up to the second line for that +1, but I'd rather have that +3 right there, so that is completely up to you guys. Just curious to see here if I move him up on the first line. Let's see if I move that there. And then Sorensen up there. That could honestly potentially work. Putting Evander Kane down to that second line. As much as I don't want to do that for his development, it might be beneficial to sort of bump LeBanc up to the first line and give Evander Kane that +3 as bonus with Couture as well. Because let's take a look here. He does fit better on the first line. But we might leave it like that, guys. But just make sure you put it down in the comments down below what you guys want to see with the lines. And then obviously if you want me to trade any players, hopefully let's take a look here and see if Carlson will be coming back here shortly on the team. I know he's been out for a while. Returning January 14th, so he will be back very shortly and into the lineup. And hopefully that might boost the team's morale. Moving forward here into the future, we can actually go ahead and take a look at the draft class here, see if any of our scouts have finished their scouting, and it looks like some players are currently being scouted. Trying to figure out some more information on them, which is always good to see, because we might be sort of drafting a little bit lower, or down sort of deeper into the draft, so we will need to sort of scout these players as we go along, as it looks like a bunch of them are currently being scouted. So that's that for the scouting, guys. I still need to sort of get a little bit better at that, but it will take me some time to sort of figure out the ins and outs when it comes to trading. But that's going to be it for today's episode, guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to drop a thumbs up. Also, be sure to comment down below what you guys want to do with the lines, or if you guys want to make any trades. I'll pull it up here again. This will sort of be the new lineup if you guys want to take a look at it. We had LeBanc down on the third line for the majority of this episode, but maybe we'll move him up to the first here, bump Evander Kane down to that second line for the +3, and then sort of put Sorensen back on the third line here. So let me know what you guys want to do regarding trades, line changes, or anything else with the San Jose Sharks, as the season is going a lot better than I anticipated. Team status is still hopeful, so things are looking bright for the future here, at least in this current season. So in the next episode, we will get through the rest of the season and get into the playoffs, potentially, depending on what the time is looking like in the video. But I hope you guys did enjoy it, and as always, stay dusty.